So I'd like to take a second to just analyze what's going on in today's society. It's very sad that we still have to deal with certain issues and certain structures of society. I'm referring to the case of Vanessa Guillen and the case of LaVena Johnson, who had the same incident, but it was 15 years ago and her case never got dealt with. It was ruled a suicide. And they would like you to know or to believe that it was a suicide, even though the evidence was so stacked up against that claim. And the fact that they're just now trying to appease people for something that happened 15 years ago and that has been happening and has been swept under the rug is so disheartening. It's so sickening. It's so disturbing that shit has to keep happening in order for a change to emerge. And it's just now taking them 15 plus years, who countless others who have been affected, countless victims who have said that they were sexually harassed or assaulted in the military or within the military or doing their term or their duty, and nothing has came about it. Nothing, not a single thing until now. But it's like, how much do we have to endure? How much do we have to endure for a change to actually come? So you're telling me we have to keep telling you, oh, we're getting sexually assaulted. We have to keep telling you that someone is doing us harm. We have to keep telling you these information or these things for you to actually believe us, when you could have just believed us the first time and you could have stopped that from happening again. The same thing goes with the Black Lives Matter movement. Nobody seems to really care until things come into play, and it's like it's too late by then. It's too late. And it's just like, it's starting to get to the point I feel like nobody cares. And it's very sad that people can actually get away with murdering people and having a fall guy to claim and take accountability for all of that blame when he wasn't the only one to blame. I feel like there was a lot of hands at play, a lot of hands at work that was dealt or involved in this situation, and nobody's really doing the much like research on it. And it's like, oh, it's clean cut case. And what happened, and that's what it is, and they just expect us to believe whatever they're spewing out to us. And it's like, people are actually believing some of the shit that they're just spilling out. And it's like, so you want us to believe a theory that women are just killing themselves, and you have no evidence behind that. You have no proof. You have no statements or claims to back out or back up what you're saying. And it's like, you just expect people to believe what you're saying because you're in a power or in a position of power. And you use that position to silence women, or to silence people in the military, or to silence people who have been conflicted with all of these issues. How do you expect us to believe something that isn't even justifiable? say that this was just a one and done thing is just so far from the truth. I believe that this will keep happening, and it will keep happening because there is no one being of power who has actually been held accountable. And everybody who tries or who comes forward and says that they commit the crime ends up killing themselves. It's just ruled suicide. So we have no way of getting proof or evidence to solidify their claim. And we're just, as a society, we're just supposed to accept it. We're just supposed to conform. That case 15 years ago should have had more coverage, more of a mainstream coverage, because her father fought for years and had proof, actual proof, evidence of there being foul play, of there being disruptions to her genital areas, there being cuts and bruises on her face, but she died from a gunshot wound. And then a gunshot wound, the way the exit wound looked, and the way that I think it was a MK16 or whatever, even the father who had military experience in the past was like, there's no way that if she actually shot herself in the head, that it would have that small of damage. If she actually did kill herself, it would have blown off most, like a good chunk of her brain. And then, even in the autopsy, her brain was very much intact. There was lye that was placed inside her genital areas. My assumption is to further get rid of evidence that she was indeed raped and that she did not kill herself. And they still ruled that a suicide. So you're telling me, you're sitting here looking me in my eye and telling me that she killed herself amongst doing all of this stuff to her, and then she killed herself. So she abused herself sexually, and she physically attacked herself, and then on top of that she angled an MK16 rifle into her mouth when the rifle was taller than her, and she managed to pull it with her big toe and killed herself. You cannot tell me that makes sense. There's no way that makes logical sense. If somebody actually did the research and actually did their fucking job, and the fact that people are just so compliant about other people not being, or other people who have medical experience being just so incompetent, and it's okay. That should have never been okay, ever. That doctor should have lost his job, or that physician should have lost his job, because there is no shape or form, there's just no room for error in those types of areas. There's not. And for people just to be okay with it I wish something had got done 15 years ago when they ruled LaVena Johnson's death a suicide. Because if that was to happen, if that happened, then there will be no case of Vanessa Guillen. And this goes back. This has history. There's always been assault or sexual assault in the military, and no one has they're afraid to speak up because of the potential harm, danger that they are placing themselves in. And a lot of people are just like, oh, just speak up, but obviously that just doesn't help when people are literally dying for not even saying anything. Vanessa, she did not say anything. She said something to her family, but she did not want to address who had sexually assaulted her. And she said it was just superior, and they're trying to mark it off or give it off as like, I believe his name was Aaron Robertson or whatever. He was not her direct superior. So there's no way that he could have killed her. Or, not that he could have killed her. He probably did have a hand in her death. But he was not the only one. And he wasn't the one who sexually assaulted her. This was an inside job, and they called her in on her day off, which is very suspicious in itself, and murdered her. And they're just trying to just push it off as like, oh, just this soldier just went rogue, he just went AWOL, and yeah, we don't really have much control over our soldiers on what they do. And it's like, that's bullshit. How do you call a woman in on her day off and then she gets murdered and no form of like evidence has been presented? So you're telling me you don't have no fucking cameras in the armory? Are you serious? That's the most important place to have cameras, because people could just walk in and out with live ammo, guns. They pretty much have an arsenal. So you're going to tell me that, even in their statements, they said, oh, a lot of our cameras are dummy cameras, and they're just there to scare. So if they're all dummy cameras, and she was sexually assaulted by her superior, he would have known that they were dummy cameras. And he knew that they were dummy cameras, and he continued to do what he did. You cannot tell me that this was not an inside job. And even if it wasn't, they should all be under investigation for negligence. It's just as simple as that. There's been a lot of weird shit going on in the Fort Hood station, that nobody talks about. It just gets swept under the rug again. And we have to stop fucking doing that, because it's going to keep happening. If we keep letting it slide, be like, oh, this is not my problem because it's not directly affecting me. It is directly affecting you, because if you're a woman, let alone a woman of color, it is directly affecting you, because it could be you. That's why I would very strongly advise women of color, or women in general, to just do not join the army, because they definitely don't care about you. They don't. And if you're gonna enforce women into the army, at least put a warning sign that 1 in 3 women are going to get sexually assaulted, sexually harassed, or raped. That's just is something that needs to be put out there, because the statistics are like too high. The numbers are too high. And it keeps happening. There are countless others who have lost their lives, and it has been ruled a suicide. And they don't get justice. Her father is still to this day trying to get justice for her 15 years ago. If that doesn't say anything to you, I really don't know what else I can say to further explain how this is just wrong, morally wrong. I would really like for this to be the last time that this ever happens to any kind of woman, but I'm sure it's not going to be. In conclusion, just to wrap things up, I would like to say that my heart goes out to the family of Vanessa Guillen and the family of LaVena Johnson, and